some consumers and scientists, the dream may be too good to be true.
What I found was really quite frightening.
They got the test results they wanted by manipulating the method.
FDA needs to reassess it, and this time around, FDA should do it right.
Over 20,000 emergency room visits every year are linked to energy drinks. Yet the FDA has almost no legal authority over what goes inside them. Not because they failed to regulate it, because the companies made sure they never had to. So here's the question nobody's asking. If Red Bull and Monster aren't technically beverages, what exactly are you drinking? And who decided that was okay? Let's start with something that sounds almost too simple to be true. Walk into any gas station in America. Grab a Monster Energy off the shelf. Look at the back of the can. You won't find a nutrition facts panel. You'll find a supplement facts panel. That's not a design choice, that's a legal declaration. By labeling their products as dietary supplements rather than conventional beverages, energy drink companies place themselves under an entirely different set of rules. Rules with almost no teeth. Under the FDA's food and beverage regulations, companies must prove their ingredients are safe before putting them in a product. Caffeine levels are monitored. Additives are reviewed, but under DSHEA, the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of 1994, the rules flip completely. Supplement manufacturers don't need FDA approval before going to market. They don't need to prove safety. They don't need to disclose how much of each ingredient is in their product. The FDA can only act after something goes wrong. And here's the part that should make you put down your can. Monster, Red Bull, and Rockstar didn't stumble into this loophole by accident. They walked through it deliberately, with lawyers, with lobbyists, with a plan. To understand how this happened, in 1994, Congress passed the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, largely driven by aggressive lobbying from the supplement industry. The law was designed to protect vitamins and herbal products from overregulation. Reasonable enough on the surface. But the definition of a dietary supplement was written broadly. Broadly enough that any product containing vitamins, minerals, herbs, or amino acids could qualify. Caffeine, it occurs naturally. Taurine, an amino acid. B vitamins, already in every multivitamin on the market. Suddenly, a highly caffeinated drink in a 16-ounce can could legally call itself a supplement, as long as the label said so. Red Bull launched in the US in 1997. Monster followed in 2002. Both positioned themselves as supplements from the beginning. And the FDA, the same agency that regulates your tap water more strictly than these products, had almost no framework to challenge it. Here's what that meant in practice. Energy drink companies were never required to disclose total caffeine content. A standard cup of coffee contains around 95 milligrams. Some energy drinks contain over 300. Consumers had no way of knowing because companies had no obligation to tell them. They were never required to report adverse events to the FDA until 2006. And even then, reporting remained voluntary for years. And they were never required to prove that the specific combination of caffeine, taurine, guarana, and B vitamins in their products was safe to consume together. Nobody tested the cocktail. They just sold it. And then people started dying. In 2011, a 14-year-old girl named Anaïs Fournier went into cardiac arrest after drinking 2 24-ounce Monster Energy drinks in a 24-hour period. She died 6 days later. Her cause of death, cardiac arrhythmia due to caffeine toxicity. Her parents sued Monster. And in the legal proceedings, something extraordinary happened. Internal FDA records surfaced, showing that Monster Energy had received reports of 5 deaths and 1 non-fatal heart attack potentially linked to its product. Monster had never made those reports public. Under supplement rules, they weren't required to. Anaïs's case wasn't isolated. Between 2004 and 2012, the FDA received reports linking energy drinks to at least 18 deaths. The agency also logged hundreds of hospitalizations, heart attacks, seizures, and psychiatric episodes, all connected to energy drink consumption. And yet, No recall, no reformulation, no mandatory warning label. Because under the supplement classification, the FDA's hands were tied. Monster's response to the lawsuit? They argued their product was clearly labeled, that consumers chose to drink it. Agnès Fournier was 14 years old. Here's where the story gets even more revealing. In 2012, right in the middle of mounting lawsuits and congressional scrutiny, Monster Energy announced it was reclassifying its product from a dietary supplement to a conventional beverage. Think about what that means. The same product, the same ingredients, the same can. Suddenly, Monster decided it was a beverage after all. Why? Because as a beverage, Monster could now advertise on television, something supplement regulations restricted. It could be sold in school vending machines. It could partner with Coca-Cola, which acquired a 16.7% stake in the company in 2014. The supplement label had served its purpose. It kept regulators away during the company's growth years. It allowed Monster to scale to billions in revenue without ingredient scrutiny, mandatory safety testing, or adverse event reporting. Once the brand was untouchable, once Monster was a cultural institution, they didn't need the shield anymore. They reclassified, walked away clean, and kept every dollar they made in the process. Red Bull, notably, never reclassified. It remains labeled as a supplement in several markets to this day. The energy drink industry is now worth over $23 billion. It was built in significant part on a legal classification that allowed companies to put unstudied ingredient combinations into hundreds of millions of hands, with no safety requirement, no disclosure mandate, and no accountability until people were already in the emergency room. The loophole wasn't an accident, it was a business strategy. And the next time you crack open a can, just know that the decision about whether it was safe to drink was made by the company selling it to you. This is controlled narrative. Subscribe. The next video goes deeper.